Okay, well, good morning, and welcome to the second annual Non-Volatile Memories Workshop here at UCSD. We're very glad to see such a large turnout for this event. Last year's workshop was successful beyond what we had expected, and the same thing has happened this year, so thank you all for coming. This workshop is organized by a collective effort on the parts of people here at UCSD from various institutes and centers, specifically the Non-Volatile Systems Laboratory, which is run by my co-organizer, Steve Swanson, the Center for Magnetic Recording Research, which is right across the walkway, Cal IT2, that's the facility you're in right now, and of course UCSD as our host institution. The organizing committee consisted of myself and Professor Steve Swanson, and we had a great group of graduate students to help us out. They deserve a tremendous amount of credit for taking care of a large number of the logistics, the website, the student travel grants, and any other number of things. So I just want to acknowledge them. Amin, Adrian, Laura, Michael, and Eitan. And we had quite a number of meetings at which we discussed all of the various important issues, and not the least of which was what color this year's surfboard flash memory should be. You'll find that in your packet, your registration packet. I also want to acknowledge the help of the staff at the Center for Magnetic Recording Research and at Cal IT2. You've probably met several of them just in the process of registering and also in your email communications. So specifically Betty Manulian and Iris Villanueva. Betty, as far as I could tell, was working 24 hours a day for the last 3 weeks because no matter when I came into the center, she was sitting there working on something, the program, the parking, you name it. And Iris was coordinating quite a bit of the activities. And also I wanted to thank Amy Nguyen and Sammy Romanin from Cal IT2 for arranging for these facilities and for helping us to get some cost sharing from Cal IT2, which was very important to us. The program committee consisted to a large extent of people who participated in last year's workshop, and you'll hear from some of them again this year. I won't go through all the names, but you can see that they come from a range of academic and industrial and national research laboratory institutions. I also want to thank our corporate sponsors, thanks to who we now have the ability to provide travel grants, and I'm very pleased that we were able to support the attendance and participation by over 40 graduate students. So IBM, Microsoft Research, Google, HP, Cadence, and LSI, we thank you very much. I have a few just small administrative announcements. So you should all have your packets, and in there is an orange information sheet. I'll just mention a couple of the highlights from that. Please be sure that you use designated parking, or else you'll be helping to ease the UCSD budget deficit. There is wireless available, as I'm sure several of you have already discovered. It's described in that handout how to get access to it. I do want to mention that in contrast to last year, we do have parallel sessions. So there will be sessions going on, technical sessions, in this auditorium, as well as in the Computer Science and Engineering auditorium in room 1202. It's actually just a short walk down the path over there, so you can even potentially ping-pong back and forth between talks during the parallel sessions. Another important item is to remember to bring your drink ticket to the banquet because they're not going to be distributing spare ones there. And then finally, I encourage you to mingle. We have people here who are representing the devices research activity area, They're representing data encoding and management, system architecture, and applications. And one of the reasons for this workshop is to encourage sort of cross-layer communication. So please feel free to go up to people you don't know and ask what they do for a living. Okay, so now I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker. This is a great pleasure for me. I've known Shuki Brook for almost 25 years. When I was at IBM Research in San Jose, California, he actually came as not a postdoc, actually, a doctoral student, but he was already at that point a mature researcher. He's currently at Caltech, where he holds the distinguished Gordon and Betty Moore Professorship of Computation and Neural Systems and Electrical Engineering. And his interests span distributed and parallel computing systems all the way to biological circuits and networks. He got his PhD from Stanford in 1989, was with IBM Research for almost 10 years, working with people there for 10 years, and contributed to parallel computing and coding for arrays and for storage networks, and did quite a bit of pioneering work there that landed him several IBM Outstanding Achievement Awards. He joined Caltech in 1994 and rapidly built up a very successful research group. He was the founding director of their Institute, an Information Science and Technology program. He started a company called Rainfinity that was ultimately acquired by EMC. And most recently, this has been a good year, the past year for Shuki. He won the incredibly prestigious Feynman Prize for Excellence in Teaching, based in part on a very innovative course that he developed having to do with essentially information and information processing. And then most recently, he received the IEEE Communication Society Best Paper Award in signal processing and coding for data storage, and that was for his work on rank modulation, which will be the topic of his presentation today. I should say that it was a natural to consider Shuki to be one of the keynote speakers, because I credit him, and I think everyone else does, with generating tremendous interest in the academic community in the area of coding for non-volatile memories. The work on rank modulation really was what triggered this, this burst of activity. And of course, his excellent speaking capabilities is a given. I'll just say that Shuki has, in my view, historically always had great vision and foresight with regard to what are the key technical problems and when the time is right to push them. And so he has always had kind of ability to predict the future. And another piece of evidence of this is that he correctly predicted the birthday of my daughter back in 1992, and it just so happened it was his birthday, April 19th. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce someone whose birthday I will never forget, Shuki Brook of Caltech.